Dingus and Dongus.
Momento.
Episode 20.
Okay, we're gonna start with Wonder Woman Dead Earth this time.
What an amazing book!
It's fucking fantastic.
Like, good story, incredible art.
Yeah,
Incredible art.
it's okay.
Well, I guess we should. It's DC out 2020.
Yeah,
Written and line art done by Daniel Johnson, coloring by Mike Spicer.
yeah, and it's part of DC's newer Black Label, which is
that
geared
basically Vertigo?
I guess.
Okay, because that was my assumption.
I mean, it's basically Black Label is geared toward more mature audiences,
Right, yeah.
and whatnot. But then again, DC in general, like they've done pretty fucked up shit.
And pretty adult-oriented
Yeah.
themes.
So I don't know how much it really fits, but doesn't
Whatever.
really matter.
No.
Doesn't matter. This book is fucking fantastic. And the first thing I want to point out is how Wonder Woman isn't sexualized at all.
No,
Yeah. She's a wild-haired Amazon warrior.
right.
And it was fucking cool as shit.
Who also has compassion
Yeah.
and inner turmoil throughout the book too.
Yeah.
Like actual character traits and development
Right.
instead of just stoic Wonder Woman looking sexy.
Yeah.
Which is cool in its own right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this is a depiction of Wonder Woman I'm not particularly that familiar with.
Right.
I mean, mostly because Wonder Woman's always kind of sexualized in one way or another in the main DC timeline or whatever. But this book, she's just a woman, wild-haired, thrown in a situation where she has no clue what's going on,
Right.
and it's fucking cool as shit.
It is. And it really shows that you can have compelling characters and relatable characters and characters you care about without just having to have Hardy bust in your face at all times.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, like it's
Yeah.
you
Without sexy poses
Yeah.
every two panels.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a shit ton of really awesome panels with her in it. Like action panels.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then I read the next page and there's a panel there. It's like, holy shit. How do you keep delivering page after page? How do you do
It's
this?
so fucking cool. Like this.
It
Okay.
go ahead.
No.
It reminds me a lot, both in art and in setting, a lot of the Dark Horse Conan the Barbarian books.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
And to go further on the art, it's leaning a little bit towards sketchy line work,
Mhm.
but not completely sketchy.
Right.
But just really good use of color. I can't figure out how to describe the use of color,
I mean, it pops.
but it's so fucking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's why I wanted to include the colors, because, dude, you deserved it. You nailed it. And just the art's really good. That's if I'm not having like a pop art or a shtick art, like that book Umbra I liked a lot, it's very monochromatic and purple. If I'm not having a special item for art that it fits in, this is the kind of art I like in my comic books.
Yeah.
If it's just like quote unquote normal art,
Right.
this is the art that drives me nuts. I love it.
It's clear. You can see what the fuck's going on, but it's also very action oriented.
Absolutely.
To get into the story of the book, it's essentially Wonder Woman waking up sometime in the future after a worldwide apocalypse happens, and she's trying to figure out, what the fuck's going on. Turns out, essentially, mankind being mankind fucked everything up.
Right. In post-apocalyptic world now, where a civilization that is left has kind of regressed to an earlier time period,
Right.
as far as technology and survival.
Right. And then later on, you figure out that technically the cause of it is Wonder Woman herself.
That's horseshit. I don't buy into that, even though that's what they were pushing. But go on.
But technically, that's what happened. Because, nuclear war, she goes around, flies around, destroy all the missiles, and then she and Superman has a giant fucking fight.
Right.
Which destroys the world.
Right.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would like it's still mankind's fault.
Yeah, no.
Like-
At the bottom line, it's mankind being dumb.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's not Wonder Woman's fault. God damn it.
No, it's not Wonder Woman's fault, but technically she caused the apocalypse.
Yeah. Okay.
But what led up to her actions during the apocalypse was mankind being dumb and not paying attention to climate change and all that sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
I really liked very early on when Diana's popped out of the pod, she's in the Batcave.
Right.
Like, you see the T-Rex and all the other things in there. And you pretty immediately also find a decaying Batman.
And
which wraps around at the end.
Yes.
Like, it was so cool to see decaying Batman, and then towards the end, how Batman died.
Right.
Like, okay, that's kind of cool.
It is, but when you first see Batman, or the dead Batman, it's kind of funny. Because he's just kind of lounging on the couch.
Yep.
Like, I don't, almost an Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Kind of pose.
Slouched.
Yeah, slouch, reclining.
Yeah.
It's just like, doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
But that's Batman somehow.
Yep.
But it does wrap around and shows why he's in that pose.
Right.
But it was in that first issue when I first saw Batman dead in that pose. It's like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking funny. That Batman's just like, I don't give a shit.
Whatever.
Yeah, I get my
hand down my
my
back pants.
Yeah. I don't think it's actually there, but it would have fit if it was.
We're retconning it.
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah.
His hand was down his trousers.
His bat hand down his bat pants.
Yep. Oh, and there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's enough dark moments involving the rest of the Justice League. Mostly, I'm referring to ripping out Superman's spine.
When I saw
skull.
her doing that, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It didn't make sense at the instant that I started seeing that. And then she was threading the lasso of truth through it. She made a Superman flail.
A fucking Superman flail! It was so cool!
And she
Holy
was wrecking shit with it, too.
Oh my god! That's one of the most brutal things I think I've ever seen in comics in
so
general.
Cool.
It was fucking amazing.
Yes.
It's like honoring Superman and desecrating him at the same time.
All in one fell swoop.
It's amazing.
Yes. I also thought it was interesting and made me think about, because they do some flashbacks of Diana's upbringing throughout the book. So at one point, her mom goes around to all the gods, gets them wasted with all the best wine and food from across the universe and galaxies. Then she goes around and cuts their hands and like collects the blood. And that got me thinking, are there STIs within the godhood realm? And how do they differ from human STIs?
Right.
And can you transfer it? Like, what would a Zeus STI be? Like,
what is Zeus STI?
I like electrifying narcissism.
It's zappy sperms.
Yeah.
Just zappy sperms.
It's like every time you pee lightning.
Yeah,
bolts.
and this is tingles.
Yeah. And it's kind of pleasant, actually.
Yeah.
It's an STI you want to get.
Yeah.
It's a gift from the gods, right?
Well, then again, have you ever peed when you really had to pee? You don't want tingly there. You want to just feel it. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
But tingly there might add to it.
maybe.
I still like to think that STIs are gifts from gods.
It's like rubbing Szechuan peppercorn on your dick. Just a little mild tingly, and then hold your pee for like 5 hours.
Yep.
And then just let it all go.
Thank you, Zeus.
That's on that topic. Not STI or peppercorns on your dick, but
They call me Peppercorn Dick.
peppercorn dick, Szechuan peppercorn dick.
The hot sausage.
Okay. So the origin kind of differs from your normal Wonder Woman Princess Diana origin story, where with this particular book, it's literally every single god,
Right.
like
An amalgamation.
yeah, into mud and all that stuff. And yeah, you have origin stories where she's built out of mud, but then blessed by the gods or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a little different. This is like literally every single god in the Greek pantheon.
Yeah.
And
It's close enough to
Yeah.
whatever. It's not like a drastic change. And this is, what are they called? Elseworld stories?
Yeah.
Fine. Perfect. It did,
Right.
Like, I didn't care.
right, it didn't change anything.
No.
Really.
Yeah. There was also a leader guy of humans in like this little city, because Diana gets found by a group of young scavengers,
Right.
who live in this settlement
Right. New
trying to
Hope.
survive. New Hope. So that's how Diana is introduced to humans, woken up because they fall on her revival tank thing,
Right.
and pops out and brings them back eventually. They bring her back eventually to the settlement. And there's a fucking douchebag leader, as is the case in most apocalyptic stories.
Right.
One of the settlements has a Negan from Walking
Right.
Dead type of leader, where they're keeping shit pretty under control through shitty means.
Right.
So Diana, which when I first started reading this segment, it's like, for a monster horror post-apocalyptic type of book, this is kind of wholesome
Mhm.
in a weird sense, how Diana's trying to forgive these humans for being shitty or whatever,
Right.
and providing a path to a different way of life and thinking. That's quickly thrown out the window. It's just interesting.
Right. Well, I mean, that's to an extent. I mean, the whole theme of the book is essentially forgiveness.
Well, redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like, you could do bad shit and still change and be better than what you were.
Right. I think one of the lines Diana said, you start out shitty. Well, not verbatim.
Yeah.
You start out as a shitty person doesn't mean your life needs to end as a shitty person.
Right.
Because she lives and she can see lifespans, whereas humans see years.
Right. And that's that's where I kind of have a little bit of difficulty. I guess the overall theme of the book is forgiveness and the ability for people to change,
Mhm.
and for beings to change. And you see that reflected throughout the entire book, where you got the shitty leader who like realizes, okay, there is a better way,
Right.
and I got to do something different.
Yep.
Diana realizing, well, it's a little more complicated with her.
Well, hers was kind of like a bell curve.
Yeah, it's she's thinking, okay, yeah, like things could definitely get better, like people are capable of change, and then there's this betrayal, or at least no, it's a straight up betrayal.
Yeah.
Where she finds out that mankind destroyed the Amazons,
Yep.
and turned them into monsters.
Which are really fucking cool looking.
Yeah, they are really fucking like disturbing, like Lovecraftian, like monstrosities.
Bulbous monstrosities.
Yeah. But then she comes back around, is like, okay, yes, this terrible thing happened, but let's do better next time.
Right. Well, and part of her coming back to that and that statement was her realizing she fucked up.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. So we can all have a chance to try and do better.
Right.
Right. So it took look inward on her part from her actions.
Right.
To reach that conclusion with the humans again.
Right. And it comes back around to the whole story of the gods, where Wonder Woman's mom kind of sort of discloses some sort of atrocity that happened to her because of the gods.
Yep.
And she, well, I mean, okay, she didn't really turn it around, and more like she got her vengeance by stealing their blood and creating this protector.
Right.
In the form of Diana.
Yes.
But it's I guess highlighting, you know, the fallibility of just everything,
Mm-hmm.
and the potential for us to all be better than what we maybe currently are.
Or the sum of our past.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and honestly, yeah, it's a very hopeful book.
It is for how fucking shitty it is.
Yeah.
There was one moment going back to the monsters, because the New Hope City settlement gets sieged, and they all decide they need to go on to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
They end up in a lighthouse area, which looked a lot like Aquaman's.
Yeah, and I was hoping.
I don't know if it
Come on,
is.
Arthur.
I don't know if it
I don't
is.
know.
It could just be a fucking lighthouse. I don't know. They all look the same. I like to think that Aquaman was swimming around out there. We just never saw him.
Right. I was like, when I saw that they were gathering around a lighthouse, like, oh,
right.
Aquaman.
That's immediately popped in my head. So we had old Gotham, Batman. We saw Superman later.
Right.
But anyway, their journey to there, Diana was leading them, and there was a mega. They call them Hydras, I guess.
Hydras, yeah.
But they're not Hydras in the sense that they have multiple heads.
Right.
Just big monsters.
Right.
And there was a huge one, a big one they had to fight, and they're like, we're all going to die. And she's like, fuck it, let's just do it. Trust me. And she ultimately gets in a Jeep and pulls some boss-ass shit and drives the Jeep up on a cliff, jumps it off a cliff into the monster's head, pours gasoline on him after stabbing his head and climbing on it, lit it on fire, and fucked off. I was like, that was amazing.
Fucking cool.
And that also solidified the book did really well with the onomatopoeias.
Yeah.
Like when she was pouring the gas, it said sploosh
Right.
in the gasoline,
Right.
which is really cool. And another fun instance of that is when she first encountered a Hydra, a much smaller one. She grapples it, and it literally says grapple, and I laughed. Like that's the action word. It's like grapple.
Right.
But she's behind it, and it looks like she's about to suplex him, like a WWF suplex.
Yeah.
She didn't. I was like, aw, grapple, suplex. Welcome
Now-
to Suplex City.
Now, on the topic of Hydra, so I recall there is a thing in, I don't know, Latin or Greek where A and E are like smushed together,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But last night I had a dream about that exact concept as A and E smushed together, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out if it was a capital A that's tilted and then the E
Okay.
on the side,
Yeah.
or if it's a like normal way, straight up and down, and the E off to the diagonal, and then it turned into a fucking monster that like chased me around because I couldn't figure out which one it was, and it was fucking terrifying as shit. And then I realized, oh wait, like the only way I've ever seen is little lowercase a with the curly tail of the E. I don't know.
I've seen it that way.
Yeah.
And I've also seen it with a capital A leaning to the right. So it's like the right leg of the A is
Up?
90 degree
Okay.
up and down. And then the left leg of the A leans into it.
Okay,
And
so
then
it's
the
like
E-
tilted.
Yes. And then the E comes off of this up and down leg.
Okay. But I don't know. It's just like last night. It's fucking like it was a weird nightmare where like I couldn't figure out which one's the right one, and I guess they want to kill me because I couldn't recognize.
How dare you don't know?
Yeah.
I think Evangelist uses that, and Aether Realm uses
Yeah.
that, I think. That's the only reason I've seen a capitalized version of that. Every other time's been lowercase a, like you'd mentioned.
But it's fucking weird.
It is
And
weird
it is
that
fucking
you
like-
had a dream about that.
Yeah.
About letters.
About
monstrous letters.
about like a conglomeration of two letters that
I like to
weird.
think they're conjoined twins.
conjoined twins.
A and E. They're like the same letter, just upside down.
American Entertainment.
Yeah. There were so many cool, like, full spreads, too. Like, obviously, we already talked about it. Panel to panel, there's a lot of cool shit happening. But there's just a lot of wow factor spreads, too. One of which is when they're in wherever that place is that the Amazons are from.
Themyscira?
Yeah. A Pegasus shows up. Cheetah and Pegasus show up. And it's like a zombie Pegasus almost. It looks really cool. But it's a storm. And then Nubia is in her full armor with the big-ass sword. And they're kind of off-center facing each other. There's a lightning bolt like shooting diagonally across the scene. And in the foreground, there's like a pile of dark skulls.
Right.
And it was a really impressive shot.
Right.
Really, wow.
Right.
Fucking wow. And then the very next issue, a couple pages in, there's another killer shot of humans and tanks and one guy with a bazooka, which I focused in on, was hilarious, fighting the Amazons. And it's just a really incredible battle scene. It blew my mind. And as you're well aware, I've been on a huge Warhammer kick.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading a bunch of Warhammer lore, watching videos. So I immediately likened it to a Warhammer battle.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It looked cool as hell. I was like, oh my god.
I'm going to circle back real
Yep.
quick. Cheetah. She was so fucking cool.
She has a cheetah arm.
She has a cheetah arm and like weird like teeth thingies coming out of the side of her face.
Yes.
And once again, it's like not sexualizing Cheetah, the character, in any sort of way.
Right.
She looked burly as fuck.
Right.
And she fucking ruled.
She did. It turns out she was experimented on
Yeah.
to further her cheetah-ness.
Right.
So she was a true monstrosity, but she was cool as hell. Like,
yeah. And you get a weird shot of them operating on her, and there's just like cheetah bodies.
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging on like meat hooks. And then that got me kind of wondering, like, okay, so how do you graft the cheetah head onto an arm and get it functioning as an arm?
We're not scientists. We'll
not.
never know.
Yeah. It's just like, well, I mean,
So,
we could do this, right?
Yeah.
We could do this. It's just like,
I'm a cheetah.
This is the jaw. This is the anti-jaw. I don't know what that part of the mouth is. The thing that's above the jaw, and then you could do this.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess that's like if you could do this, then you could do a cheetah face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a big puppet.
Yeah.
She stuck her hand in a cheetah butt.
Yeah. And extended her thumb like really all the way on the other side. Just, on the topic of creatures, Wonder Woman was in an arena, right?
Yes.
And then these creatures attacked.
Yes.
The first thing that popped in my head was the graboids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the big underjaw
Yep.
is like, oh, these are the fucking type of fucking butt blasters.
Yep. Where's that one actor? It's in all of them. I can't remember.
Right. The old dude
Yeah.
that is very conservative and loves guns.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it turns out that all these creatures are Amazonians being sent out by what's-her-face.
Yeah, and that's actually really sad.
It is. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's like, oh, shit. Like, now we're really diving into, like, morally gray areas.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay. So you got these monstrosities who are actually, like, proud warriors mutated, and now they're essentially their representative to the human world has to slaughter them
Yes.
to save mankind.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, shit. oh, that's fucking heavy, man. Yeah, that moment when you figure that out is like,
Shit.
fuck.
Yeah.
And there,
Well, even Diana has that
yeah,
kind of similar moment. Like, you can just see on her face, she's saying, fuck.
yeah. And that gets to the point to where I don't know exactly who to root for. There's a part of me that's like, okay, yeah, monsters, have at it.
Well, root for Pegasus.
Root for Pegasus?
Yeah. That's the only safe
safe pet. Root for Pegasus?
Yeah.
But honestly, it's like, okay, like, come on, mankind literally waged war against the Amazons who haven't done shit.
Yep.
And then it's like, and partially because, well, mankind waged war against Amazon because Amazon's told mankind to cut your shit out.
Yeah, stop
The
it.
world is dying.
Yeah.
And then mankind decides to mute the Amazons.
Like,
it's like,
men don't like to be told no, or whatever they said.
It's just, yeah. Like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, yeah, let's wipe it clean. Let's wipe it clean. We can have monsters. That's fine.
Yes.
We don't maybe necessarily need mankind because, at least in this book, it's terrible.
Yes.
But the whole point of the book is this redemption arc.
Right.
In that, okay, we can learn from past mistakes. We can be better.
And will we? Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. We can try.
It ended very well.
Yeah.
So
it ends with we can try.
Exactly.
And let's try.
Yep.
And I think that's a very good message for any aspect of just life in general. It's just try.
We can try.
Yeah. Let's do it and see what happens.
Yep. White-Eyed Trance by Ectoplasma. Out on Momento Mori in 2019. It's a death metal band from Greece.
Yeah. It's a very solid album. It's solid death metal through and through, in my opinion.
I like that it is definitely death metal, but there's bits and pieces where it's like different. You can tell the different influences of death metal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't super samey, I felt. The tone it wasn't quite as deep, but almost like a grave kind of tone.
Yeah, I
But
can hear that.
Then they would slow down their pace, and it kind of sounded like Asphyx a little bit. And then it'd get really quick and be kind of its own thing. It was really cool.
They had a lot of cool doomy moments.
Yep.
One particular thing, shit. It's right before the first self-titled one, I think. Well, no. It's the one before the Dracula song, the anti-Dracula song. Well, I don't know. I don't know the name of the track, but it ended with a really fucking groovy riff.
I know exactly what
that
you're talking about.
doesn't exactly come around when you think it's going to come around.
Yep.
That shit, I love that shit.
I loved it too. If it's the same one, I think it's the same one. Almost in the middle.
Yeah,
like,
middle-ish.
Track 5, around 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing, cool riff that, if you sit and think about it, kind of goes on a little too long.
Yeah.
But it reminds me very much of Vader's Epitaph.
Yeah.
And it's a killer riff. It's groovy,
it really
death
is.
metal. Yeah. And it really does go on a little too long, but I liked it so much that I'm fine with that.
Right. I think part of it is because it kind of throws you off, like somewhere around the middle.
Yep.
Every single time, where you think it's going to start again, it doesn't quite start right there.
Yep.
Just a couple seconds later.
Yep.
It's like, shit like that gets me going, dude. Because it's like, it's 4/4, but not 4/4. So, yeah, it's just fucking, it's cool.
I wonder if it's like 4/4, but they fucked up. Or if this was intentional. I don't know.
No, it's got to be intentional.
Okay,
Yeah, because
gotcha.
like I've listened to that riff over and over because I like it so much.
Right? Yeah.
But so like I got it to where like, okay, yeah, they have a odd time signature basis, and then they kind of repeat it and then like tack on shit at the end to make it into a 4/4.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
where you can actually head bang to it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you actually follow the quote unquote melody, it doesn't wrap around quite the same.
Okay.
Yeah, but that shit like that gets me so excited because it's so fucking cool and weird, but you can still headbang to it.
Yeah, it was absolutely really cool, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I also loved the wolf sampling they used in the first track.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about the crow or whatever.
Yeah.
That's whatever, but the wolf, yes.
So one thing I noticed, there's 2 tracks called White-Eyed Trance. I couldn't quite tell the, I guess, significance of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I tried listening to the 2 tracks back to back, and I just can't tell, at least musically, what the connection between the 2 songs actually is.
Yeah.
Maybe there is, like, some sort of lyrical connection. I haven't delved that deep into it. Yeah, there are no lyrics listed on Metal Archives at the moment, but I am kind of curious when bands do that, where they name 2 songs the same thing, or I guess in this case it's White-Eyed Trance something, and then White-Eyed Trance something.
Yes, something.
Yeah, something else.
Yes.
I'm curious what the connection is.
We could ask them. I bet they would tell us.
Yeah. I mean, like with first thing that pops in mind is Acrocock on words that go unspoken. Shit. And now I forgot the name of the songs.
But
there is a literal musical connection where they're using similar, essentially the same arpeggios that one song ends to continue another song.
Gotcha.
So there is a musical continuity there, but I'm kind of wondering what the continuity between White-Eyed Trance 1 versus White-Eyed Trance 2 is. And
I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Yeah.
What did you think about the album art?
It was silly.
It was absolutely goofy.
Yeah. It was like a little necromancer, I guess.
But poorly done art. It felt like.
Okay.
I liked the concept.
Right.
I did not like the execution.
Right. So what it reminds me of is kind of like a B game on Steam.
Yes. Or, let's say, a late 90s Florida death metal album art.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
No, not quite. They experimented a lot with 3D.
Yeah.
Garbage. But no, it was just...
It's very video gamey.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and in a bad way.
Yes.
It's just very silly looking. A lot of greens and
white eyes.
Yeah, I mean, there's very contrasting colors that don't add up to much.
Right. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Their logo's cool.
Yeah.
Their music's cool. The album art for this is not cool. Cool concept.
Yeah.
Bad execution.
Yeah, it really does remind me of just...
It makes me think of fan-made D&D art that someone, like, they're playing a game with their buddies in high school, and then in class, they're doodling this, and that's what they came up with.
Right.
Is what it feels like.
It feels very amateurish.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Musically, though, like, I think the album is solid for death metal.
Yep. I like it.
I don't think they... Okay, so this is a thought I had earlier today, actually. It's like, how...
Karate chop?
Yes, how do you karate chop first to inflict the max amount of damage? But also...
You hit their weak spot.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
Judo chop.
Judy chop.
But, so how do you balance, like, kind of stereotypical riffs to where you're able to differentiate yourself from others?
Well, you do exactly what they did, and you play with speed and tempo.
But at the same time, like, I don't get, they're not, yes, it's good, but I can't necessarily pick them out of a lineup of
Like if you played it blindly
Yeah,
amongst its peers
right.
or whatever. That could be said about most things.
That could, and that's got me interested because I do play in a band,
Yeah.
and part of my thing is like how does anybody really stand out
Well, I think
within the scene?
the short answer to that is what music has, especially radio music, has used for a long time, really noticeable and memorable hooks.
Right?
You know, give us something to chant, maybe, or just a really awesome riff that doesn't have to be new, but it has to be a segment. Like, perfect example of that's Malformity on their Lost Necropolis song.
Yeah.
It has that,
Which I stole. I stole that shit.
I know. I heard
Dan,
it.
I stole that shit from you.
And the third time you use it, it drops in the mix, so it's a
Yeah.
little weird. It's like, oh. It was weird. It drops in the mix. Like, it's not consistent for all
Right.
three. Anyway, this isn't about your wonderful release, which is great, and everyone should listen to. Seriously, it's amazing. Just memorable and
Hooks.
hooky stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make you stand out, because that's what people... It doesn't have to be new. It
Right.
doesn't have to be unique. It has to just catch you.
Right.
So you don't forget it.
But that's like where I feel like at least me and maybe some other bands like trip up is that I don't know. I can't really speak for anybody else really, but it's just the idea that like okay, like there's so much shit out there,
Mm-hmm.
and so much of it I think is good. What can I do different or all that shit? And it just like it can fuck with your head.
I imagine so. I just wouldn't concern myself with them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm making this music. I don't care what you do with your music
Yeah.
as far as how it affects me creating whatever I'm creating. Caveat to all this is I'm not in a band. So
Yeah. I don't know.
it just seems an ill use of your energy to focus
It
on
does.
not doing something else that someone else is doing instead of focusing all of that expenditure into just creating.
Right. But that wraps into like this article I was reading about imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And therefore I have to like somehow like analyze everything and it's like, okay, how the fuck does this work? Why does this work? And all that shit. And then like you get into like a weird paralysis where you can't like do anything at all.
Yep.
And basically, bottom line is, if you're putting out music, if you're releasing shit, you should be proud of yourself.
Right.
Because,
You've accomplished a thing.
yeah, it doesn't fucking matter, like, if it's the best thing in the world, if it's the next greatest album or whatever. You should be proud of yourself because you stuck to your gut and you did a thing.
Yeah.
And be happy with it.
Yeah. I'm happy with this death metal band, and I hope they're happy with themselves.
Yeah, it's a fucking solid ass death metal release.
Yep.
And they should be proud.
I just now had a connection. It's not exactly a direct connection, but they're from Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about Greek gods in the comic book.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'm patting myself on the back.
Hooray! Connection!
Dingus and Dongus.
Hey, Michael.
What?
What that plant is?
Oh, that's our guardian plant.
Our gardenia.
Yes, gardenia. Eventually, it's going to sprout 3 heads and
Yes.
start barking at people.
Yep. And it's gonna come through the window.
And then this will be its house.
Yeah, pretty much. And it will be the landlord. We will pay it rent in
Oxygen.
fertilizer.
Oh.
Fertilizer.
So I can just poop on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it gives us oxygen.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. The reverse of what I said about oxygen.
Well, breathe on it.
Yes, breathe and poop on it.
Breathe the poop on it.
Breathe and poop on it.
Okay, because breathe the poop on it sounds very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Yeah.